Morning to you. Just trying to describe the scale of the devastation as well. I mean, I was amazed to hear it's very difficult for the rescue services to get involved here because apparently the area is the size of a country like Bulgaria to deal with.
Yeah, it's a huge and devastating earthquake. I mean, the pictures you've been showing this morning that we've seen in the last few days are truly terrible. I mean, the reasons that this is such a devastating earthquake are many, and it's a whole coincidence of things. First and foremost, you have the fact that the earthquakes that occurred in the area here, magnitude 7.8 and 7.5, each released about as much energy as the largest ever atomic bomb. That's about 50 megatons each.
Unbelievable.
Second, these earthquakes occurred quite shallow in the crust, about 10, 18 kilometers. That means that you're much closer to the epicenter. So the amount of shaking that occurs, the amount of devastation that occurs is much worse than if the earthquake is deeper. Thirdly, you've got the fact that this is a very densely populated area. So if it's hit by an event of this size, it's almost inevitable you're going to get huge loss of life. Fourth, and perhaps this is the other really important one, is the timing of the magnitude 7.8 event. It occurred in the middle of the night when people were at home asleep in their beds. It's an old adage in earthquakes that it's not earthquakes that kill people, it's collapsing buildings. And these poor people had no opportunity to get out of their buildings. Finally, and this one applies to northern Syria, it's the recent conflicts there have very much degraded the buildings. But first and foremost, it's just the sheer size of this event.
It takes me back to sort of geography A level and thinking about tectonic plates and all of that kind of thing. I mean, just explain to us why this region is prone to these kinds of movements. And, you know, are the plates on the move? Can we expect more of this? What do the boffins, what do the professors see in the future?
Well, the plates are always on the move. What you have here is the coming together of three tectonic plates, Arabia, Africa, and Anatolia. And the boundaries of those plates in this area are vertical fault lines that cut right through the crust that show mainly horizontal displacements, like the San Andreas Fault in Western North America. And in this particular case, Arabia is moving slowly northwards and is squeezing a wedge-shaped fragment of crust, which corresponds to Western Anatolia, which is Western Turkey, squeezing it out westwards. A bit like if you take a pip, an orange pip, and put it between your finger and thumb and squeeze it, it pops out to the side. Well, Anatolia is being driven out to the side. And that this squeezing triggered displacement along a big fault line called the Eastern Anatolian Fault, which itself, that produced a 7.8 event. And then that triggered another earthquake along an east-west trending fault called the Surgu Fault, which produced another displacement. Total amounts of displacement, you're talking a few meters to the west in each case.
Is there anything that can be done when we look ahead to whatever rebuilding process there has to be? So many people affected, so many buildings affected by this. Can they do better with their architecture?
Well, I mean, Turkey is not unused to seismic events and catastrophic seismic events. There have been, in the last 50 years, 4 really terrible earthquakes in 1975, in 1983, 1999 and 2020, each of which have killed thousands or tens of thousands of people. But you have to understand that this event was really, I mean, it's more than 3 times the size of any event that struck the region in modern times. So, yes, things were done. After the 1999 Izmit earthquake, for example, the Turkish government pledged to spend significant amounts of money on improving the earthquake resistance of buildings. But you have to understand this event, I mean, the sort of typical earthquakes in this area are a magnitude 5 or something like that. This event was 16,000 times bigger than that. And there's only so much that you can do in terms of building design when faced with an event of that magnitude, you know, particularly in a densely populated area of this kind.